So Mayor Pete Buttigieg is getting some pushback from progressives for statements that he made about Bernie Sanders at a recent campaign stop. Let's take a look.
Seeing that the numbers are fine, like unemployment's low, like all that, like the set GDP is growing, and yet a lot of neighborhoods and families are living like this recovery never even happened. They're stuck. It just kind of turns you against the system in general, and then you're more likely to want to vote to blow up the system, which could lead you to somebody like Bernie, and it could lead you to somebody like Trump. I think that's how we got where we got.
All right, so it's more making a comparison between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. But okay, let me give you the couple of things about this, right? So now he said, well, look, the economic situation can lead you to somebody like Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump, basically saying that correctly that the system is broken, right? Now, is Pete Buttigieg interested in fixing that system? Not necessarily, not from what I've seen. In fact, he's campaigning as more of a moderate person, a moderate Democrat in line with corporations. So that's unfortunate. So he doesn't actually want to do anything about the system. And what he says about both Sanders and Trump is basically, I mean, you got Bernie Sanders on the extreme left over here, and then you got Donald Trump over on the extreme right. So they're kind of the same, but opposite. Wait, so they're both the extreme. Now, Bernie Sanders is not extreme. Now, Trump is a natural, I wouldn't say that he's also extreme. He's a natural extension of what happens when you have a system like this. And so, again, he comes to the wrong conclusions. Now, are a lot of Americans not benefiting from the system? Obviously. Over half of all Americans can't afford a $400 emergency. Wages are stagnant for millions of people, millions of workers. Corporate profits and CEO pay are at a record high. We've got major problems, right? So now he also mentioned that there are people that want to blow up the system, right? Well, look, I guess if you're Trump, you want to blow up the system. Actually, in reality, I think Donald Trump would rather make the system work for him than he would want to blow it up. But Bernie Sanders don't want to blow up the system. Bernie Sanders wants to fix the system. Bernie Sanders wants to save capitalism from itself. He's a social democrat or democratic socialist. All that exists inside a capitalistic system, what it does is that it gets the corruption out and basically also makes it so that government responds to the needs of the actual people. So, I mean, those two things are not the same, right? And what's even more clear is we don't need a continuation of that system. It does need to be changed, modified, overhauled, whatever, right? So Sanders is correct. Comparing Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump is not accurate. It's completely inaccurate. Now, Donald Trump might have pointed out some of the flaws and made some promises, right? But he did that because, well, for one, he's a pathological liar, and he did that because he knew it would win. Whereas Bernie Sanders has been calling very consistently for a people-led political revolution, which means millions of people turning out to the polls to try and change the system to get it back to where it actually serves the people. So it's not the same. But see, here's where this talking point comes from, right? And we've heard this before. It is from people who want to maintain the status quo, right? Oh no, Bernie, Trump, they're all the same. They're both extremes of each other. Now, the thing is that Buttigieg had recently attended basically a what to do about Bernie dinner, right? I reported on that before. That was hosted by wealthy Democratic donor and Clinton supporter Bernard Schwartz. Now, this dinner involved leaders like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the head of the Center for American Progress, Neera Tanden. So now Buttigieg goes to this dinner, and it's basically, we got a Bernie Sanders problem. How do we beat it? Right? And he went to that. And so I'm not surprised that he now comes out with the talking point that is used by those very same people. Again, Neera Tanden has a history of attacking progressives and trying to paint Bernie Sanders as the left's Donald Trump. And I've heard that before. Okay? Now, Buttigieg's comments, of course, have angered a lot of progressives. Now, let me go with the first one, Representative Rokana. He said, quote, "It is intellectually dishonest to compare Bernie to Trump. Bernie's for giving people health care, education, child care, and more pay. He wants to blow up credentialed elitism, those who reject tuition-free college for all." Now, the reason he says that, by the way, is that is a policy jab at Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg does not support free college. He just doesn't. Now, you also have Nina Turner, right? Nina Turner defended Bernie Sanders, of course. Nina Turner is a surrogate, and she's an excellent one at that. And she said, quote, "Bernie Sanders supporters are not the same as Trump fans. Senator Sanders supporters are Democratic and independent voters, many of whom are people of color. That is a big, big difference than Donald Trump's base of support, which is basically white evangelicals and very conservative Republicans. It's not even close. Bernie Sanders polls incredibly well with young people of color. He's actually beating the field when it comes to younger people of color and just younger people in general. So now your older generations, your older demographics do tend to go to more moderate establishment candidates, right? Now, the thing is, as I said before, Buttigieg is using establishment talking points and is not against progressive policy. And now he has gigantic backing from establishment outlets. You guys have all seen the flurry of positive reports, and that has had a big impact. There's a new New Hampshire poll that just came out where Buttigieg is now in third place. He went from relative obscurity, and he still has a lot of people that don't know who he is, to now basically right behind Joe Biden, who is yet to declare. Now, that same poll has Bernie Sanders at 30%. But did any of the headlines really focus on how Sanders is the front runner? No, of course not. No. Oh, look at, here comes Buttigieg from, I'm not going to say it. Because I just realized how bad that would sound. But here comes Buttigieg, right? He is in third place now in that new poll, polling at about 15%. And so here comes Buttigieg. Oh, what's going on with Buttigieg? What's his favorite ice cream color? Flavor. What did he do today? This is the focus that establishment media has unfortunately been doing, right? And so that's weird. I think it's fair to point out that the establishment loves Pete Buttigieg. They used to love Beto O'Rourke. Robert Francis O'Rourke. But now, unfortunately for Robert Francis, Buttigieg is now taking over. So, here we go. And the thing is, you look at his policies, he's not for Medicare for all. He's not for free college. He's not for any of the good policies. And basically, nobody really knows what he stands for. But they focus on how he has an Obama-esque quality. And so, whenever that happens, oh boy. And now he's palling around with Neera Tanden and big donors of the Democratic Party. And you look at his record as mayor of South Bend. Look, for me, my mind's made up, right? I'm not a fan. I will not be supporting Mayor Pete. Now, if you want to, and I would suggest that you go and look into his record, because that's what's important here, the policy record, what he did as mayor of South Bend, what you think he'll do as president. And then we'll see. Just look into his record, make your own decision. As for me, I've already made mine. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.